Hello, thank you so much for joining me in this video. This is my first film review. I'm hoping to be able to create at least one of these videos every week. I'm a huge film fan. I absolutely love watching films, especially films that are either based on fact, based on true events, or films that have very deep meaning. I really like these films. So I usually love to watch these films, and once I've watched them, I'm going to come and create a short film review for you. Hopefully you can take away a little bit of the English that I use in this video, but also it's meant to give you an idea of how I saw the film from my own perspective. I'll tell you about the story, what I liked and disliked, and also if there's a message in the film and whether I do actually recommend the film or not. And this is all based on my own personal opinion. Okay, so the film I'm going to review in this video is called Elemental. Elemental. You might have seen this poster if you're living in the UK, the States, in Canada, maybe if you're living in Europe or any of the other countries, you might have seen this poster. If not, you might be able to get it on DVD a little bit later. So elemental is the adjective, the noun is element, and one of the meanings of element is all these different elements that we have in nature. For example, fire is an element, water is an element, we've got wind or air, it's an element. Here we've got grass, which is basically from earth, and that also is an element. These are all different elements, and the cartoon is called Elemental. So that's basically the meaning of the title. I'm going to start with the plot. Plot is story. So Layla, basically, what is this cartoon about? Right at the beginning, we learn that different elements can't mix. So right at the beginning, it wants to very clearly show the audience that different elements in this cartoon, in this city, in this area, cannot mix together. Every element stays with its own type of elements. There's no kind of mix between the elements at all. The story starts with a family of individuals from the fire element. They have to move, this family who are from the fire element, they have to move. They are forced to move from their home to a completely different city or area to live. So they have to move basically somewhere they don't know, somewhere which is very new to them. And that's where the story starts. We follow this family, and the girl's father is trying to train his daughter with the family business so that later on, when he gets a little bit older, he can basically hand over the business to his daughter. That's where the story starts, which is really nice. It shows this father who's working really hard, trying to train his daughter from when she's very, very young, okay? And we're talking about this young lady here who is literally fire. So that's what the story is about, basically. What did I like and what did I dislike about the cartoon? First thing I'm going to say is, if you have seen the cartoon Inside Out, Inside Out is one of those very famous cartoons that was very, very nicely written, very, very nicely produced. It was a cartoon that went very deep into emotion, and it basically had this idea that it's okay to cry. Everybody has this fear that, oh my God, you know, we shouldn't let kids cry, and we should keep kids safe, and we should always try and protect them from sadness and from hurt and upset. But this cartoon, when it came out, Inside Out, in my opinion, it honestly revolutionized the idea of developmental psychology. in that it's okay. If a kid wants to cry, it's okay. It's part of human development, especially child development. Now, that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love the cartoon Inside Out, which came out a few years ago. This cartoon, Elemental, it didn't go deep enough with the emotion for me. One of the reasons I think why audience love to make the connection with the cartoon or with the characters is because you need to be able to sympathize with the character that you see on screen. And one form of sympathizing is to try and understand the emotion that they're going through. If you can't feel the emotion, if it's not tangible what they're going through, then we don't feel that closeness and we don't get to really sympathize with them that much. So that's one thing I didn't like very much. It didn't go deep enough with the emotion. However, if I want to look at the plus side, the things that I really liked, if you've seen the cartoon Zootopia, you know it's full of comedy, it's full of color, it's full of really, comic characters, all different kinds of personalities. And that's what this cartoon had as well. It was colorful, funny, very witty. So the writing was smart, it was nicely done, very, very lovable characters. A cartoon that children will definitely enjoy because the characters are lovable, lots of jokes that kids will get, and so will adults as well. So these are the few things that I liked and disliked about the cartoon. The message. So the whole point for me personally, the whole point of me going and watching a cartoon, a film, a movie is I want to see what is the director, producer, writer, character, what are they trying to say? What are they trying to teach me? What are they trying to convey? What's the message, basically? You see all these characters on screen, you see different actions and words and sentences, and you see all of this, but what are they trying to say in the film or the cartoon? And this is important to me. So the message I got is something that kids might not get, and that's one of the reasons why I'm really, really attracted to this cartoon, Elemental. It shows you the day-to-day struggles of an immigrant family, that family I told you about with the fire, the mum, dad and the girl who were all from the fire element. They had to immigrate, didn't they, from their comfort zone, from where they lived, to a completely new neighborhood where they didn't know. And it shows the day-to-day struggles of an immigrant family, the fact that they're not wanted, the fact that they're shunned, get out, we don't want you, the fact that they're not trustworthy. And this is, it was very nicely portrayed in the cartoon, but it also unfortunately it reflects what actually happens in today's society, that you have immigrants coming from other countries, from outside, coming to our country, and unfortunately they are felt sometimes not wanted just by a look that they're given, or just by something they hear, or just by a certain action or behavior. They do sometimes unfortunately feel not wanted, and that's a terrible, terrible feeling. Shunned, or that they're not trustworthy. These are horrible feelings, and this cartoon showed that really well, because this is a family of fire, and fire doesn't really get on well with any of the other elements. Fire is seen as destruction. Fire is seen as the end, something that burns and destroys everything. So nobody wants to play with fire, nobody wants to hang around fire. And this was a kind of symbol, a representative of a family that have come to this new neighborhood, this new area, and they are different. In some way, they're different. And the struggles that they have to go to day with their everyday lives. How hard they really have to try very hard to prove themselves and to be accepted by that area or that country or social gathering or society that they've moved to. They really, really have to work hard, a lot harder than the natives of that land in many respects, because they either have to or they feel the need that they need to prove themselves. And that is tremendous stress. It's a lot of stress that lingers around just because they're from outside of our normality, basically. However, one of the beauties of being an immigrant, I guess, is that they see the glass half full. Hopefully, they get to see the glass half full. So if they manage to accomplish something, if they come from a country that is really struggling economically, maybe politically or in any form, and they come to another country where they have more freedom, for example, hopefully they will see the glass half full. They will become a little bit more optimistic about life. As soon as they start learning the language, becoming familiar with the culture, they start becoming more optimistic and they start seeing the glass half full, being more positive about life. And again, this is something that we see in this cartoon as well. At the very beginning, this girl who's made of fire, she is told that she can't play with anybody because she is fire. But later on, throughout the cartoon, she realizes that no, it's not that everybody has to keep away from me. There are some advantages to being fire, and there are ways of trying to develop and progress and make herself better, basically, than what she already is. I think one of the big differences that we see in real life, and you see this in this cartoon as well, is the difference in expectations between the traditional generation, or basically the parents, and the kids, the new generation. There is this difference in experience that the parents come over to a new country, and obviously they bring with them their own expectations, their own way of life, their own culture and everything, their own hard work ethos and everything with them. And then you've got kids who are brought up in this society who might not have the same expectations. So a father, like in this cartoon, the father who came to the new environment, he was the owner of a shop, and in his view, all his life he has tried to be a successful shop owner, and the main goal is to pass down this business to his daughter. Now, what if that daughter doesn't want to be a shop owner? What if that daughter doesn't want to take hold of the family business? What if she has a different expectation from life? And this is where the two expectations clash. What the parents want compared to what the children want. The difference of expectations. And again, this was really nicely shown in the cartoon as well. One last point that I've seen this, and that is that sometimes parents who bring their children over to a different society, and we saw this in the cartoon as well, there is that idea that some parents feel like in my own country, my kids respected me. I had a lot of respect. Now that I've come to a new country, children have lost that respect for their parents just because they've come to live in a Western society. This is very different to the culture that they're used to, and they have a feeling that their kids are not picking up, are not learning their culture, the parents' culture. The kids are being brought up with this new culture, and sometimes parents aren't happy about that. A lot of respect is lost in this way. And again, this was something that actually brought a tear to my eye right at the end of the cartoon. So if you're a very sensitive person like me, make sure you take a tissue with you, a piece of tissue with you. But it's just lovely to see that that respect still remains, even if they do immigrate to a completely new environment. On the whole, on the whole, I thought it was a very nice cartoon. It was around about 2 hours long, so in the middle it can get a little bit long right in the middle of the cartoon, but there is solid foundation there. The English is amazing. It's easy to follow if you're a non-English speaker. Kids will enjoy it. I would suggest, I mean, I'm a mother as well, but obviously my kids are teenagers. So if you want to take your kids, I would suggest any child above the age of, I would say 4, might be able to sit down and watch it, because anything under than that, and they might be a bit bored because the cartoon can go on for quite some time. However, they will love the colors, they will love the jokes, they will love the comedy of it all, and it's a treat for the parents as well, because the parents will get those little messages that are seeping through the comedy and the discussion, conversation, and the words that are said on screen. So overall, yes, I thought it was a very nicely made cartoon. It wasn't as emotional as Inside Out, but at the same time, it had a fantastic message about the struggles that immigrants go through. And this is something we need to bear in mind. It's something that we need to think about, that a family who is coming to live in a new culture and a new society, they've already been through a lot of hurt and pain. So let's not add to that now that they're living in a new society. It's just food for thought, isn't it? Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this film review. I'll be posting one of these hopefully every week about animation or films that I've seen. I'd love to hear your comments and your responses. Did you go to see this cartoon? What did you think? Is there anything that you saw that I haven't discussed here? Or did you think the opposite? I mean, did you absolutely hate it? Did you love it for other reasons? Do make sure that you comment for me below. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next film review very soon. Thanks.